Spider-Man: Into the Spider-Verse 2 won't be swinging into cinemas later this year unfortunately, but it's not too big of a delay. In December 2021, Sony and Marvel revealed that the sequel was called Spider-Man: Across the Spider-Verse. While we're still getting a two-part sequel to the Oscar-winning first movie, the title has changed a bit to just Spider-Man: Across the Spider-Verse, and the threequel will be Spider-Man: Beyond the Spider-Verse. To go with the title reveal, we also got our first look at the sequel in an exciting teaser that sees Miles Morales reunite with Gwen Stacy before battling Spider-Man 2099 across several universes. Production started on the sequel back in June 2020, and as far as we know, everything is on track for the sequel to swing into cinemas in June 2023. And this teaser has proved it'll be worth the wait. The producers of the first movie, Christopher Miller and Phil Lord, have written the script for the sequel along with Shanghai's David Callahan, while the directing trio is Souls Kemp Powers, Joaquim dos Santos, and Justin K. Thompson. So, what can we expect from Spider-Man: Across the Spider-Verse? Here's everything you need to know.
No.
Good.
I missed you too.
Okay.
Into the Spider-Verse 2 release date. Spider-Man: Across the Spider-Verse was going to be released in cinemas on October 7, 2022, which, as previously mentioned, was a slight delay from the originally scheduled release of April 8, 2022. However, the film has been pushed once more. Sony has revealed that Spider-Man: Across the Spider-Verse will be released on June 2, 2023. Animator Nick Kondo confirmed on June 9, 2020 that production had begun on the sequel, so barring any more delays, we can be hopeful that it will be ready for that June 2023 release date. Producer Chris Miller has already been teasing what we can expect. The development of new groundbreaking art techniques being done for the next Spider-Verse movie are already blowing me away. It's going to make the first movie look quaint. As for when we can expect Spider-Man: Beyond the Spider-Verse, the release date has been confirmed for March 29, 2024. Into the Spider-Verse 2 cast, Shane Camore and Haley Steinfeld are set to reprise their roles as Miles Morales and Gwen Stacy, respectively, and they won't be the only stars from the first movie to return for the sequel. As the teaser trailer confirmed, Oscar Isaac will be back as Miguel O'Hara of Spider-Man 2099, following his appearance in the first movie's post-credits scene. Luna Lauren Velez has also confirmed she'll be back as Miles' mother Rhea, telling comicbookmovie.com in June 2021 that they were in the process of doing the sequel, and she also teased a wonderful story arc for her character. If Velez is back, we can also assume that Brian Tyree Henry will be back as Miles' father Jefferson Davis, while Jake Johnson revealed in July 2021 that he's returning as Miles' mentor Peter B. Parker. I would like to know what happens with Peter B. Parker. I think the way his journey ended in the first movie was very open-ended. He explained. And so, when I got word that they were working on a deal and figuring it all out, I thought I truly can't wait to see what the writers came up with. I'm curious to see what his home life is like. It's also been teased that Catherine Hahn could be back as Doc Ock in a bigger role, and we also know that Issa Rae is in the sequel. She's rumored to be voicing Jessica Drew as Spider-Woman, but this has yet to be confirmed. Into the Spider-Verse 1 plot. Spider-Man: Into the Spider-Verse is an origin story that knows it is an origin story and recognizes, at this point, you're tired of Spider-Man origin stories. It features Peter Parker handing the ropes to Miles Morales, but not before featuring various other Spider people and their backstory. We get Gwen losing Peter, multiple Peter Parkers losing someone, and Spider-Ham's backstory. Pretty much everyone had someone who died, and this led to them taking the Spider-Person role seriously. Miles is no different. However, perhaps the thing which does help Miles be unique isn't just because he is Afro-Latino or listens to hip-hop, but because he feels sort of disconnected from the rest. Gwen is Peter, and all the different versions of Peter live out the same story, with slight differences. Miles' story is of the ilk of most modern remakes. They take this classic character, change his ethnicity, but unlike so many which do swaps like that, they add in a sense of culture, thus making Miles seem made to create a new and noteworthy character rather than to cash in on what is accepted and respectable. Into the Spider-Verse 2 plot. When Sony confirmed the sequel's title, they also released the first official synopsis for Spider-Man: Across the Spider-Verse. Miles Morales returns for an epic adventure that will transport Brooklyn's full-time, friendly neighborhood Spider-Man across the multiverse to join forces with Gwen Stacy and a new team of Spider people to face off with a villain more powerful than anything they have ever encountered. Could that villain be Spider-Man 2099 after he's seen battling Miles in the teaser? Surely not.
At me right now as you say that. Look at you.
I'm
Look
just
at your
pointing at
finger.
your pointing,
Look at your
which
finger
is
right
different
now.
than
What is it
normal
doing?
pointing.
You are pointing.
You haven't seen.
We imagine it's somebody we don't know about yet. We do know though that the full story isn't going to be told in the sequel, as it's been confirmed to be a two-part event. Miles' story is an epic. Lord and Miller told EW in December 2021 of the decision to split into 2 movies. We wrote what we thought the story needed to be, and to our surprise we realized it was 2 movies instead of 1. We're working on them both as we speak. The duo was tight-lipped about what that story might entail and whether we'd see the likes of Spider-Ham, Spider-Man Noir, Penny Parker again. Miles will reunite with some old friends and meet a lot of new ones, they teased. As the teaser has shown, Gwen has found a way to reunite with Miles in his universe. So that opens the sequel up to further crossovers from both old and new characters. Blade finally has a release date after first being announced way back in 2019 by Marvel Studios. During Marvel's Epic Comic-Con presentation in July 2022, it was confirmed that the MCU reboot for the Vampire Hunter would arrive as part of Phase 5 in November 2023, so we don't really have too long to wait. Blade has been written by Stacey Osei-Kuffour, who has worked on the likes of Watchmen and 15 Nouveau Sol, while it will be directed by Bassem Tariq, whose previous movie was Mogul Mowgli with Riz Ahmed. As everything starts to fall into place, here's all you need to know about Blade. Blade release date. Blade will be released in cinemas on November 3, 2023, and, as mentioned above, it will form part of Phase 5 following The Marvels and ahead of Ironheart. As well as confirming the release date at Comic-Con, Marvel also announced that the movie will start filming in October 2022 in Atlanta, as well as New Orleans, Cleveland, and Morocco. Assuming that all goes well with filming, we'd imagine that the November 2023 release date will be met. However, as ever with the MCU, there's always a chance that release dates could be shifted around. Blade cast. We've known that Mahershala Ali was going to be playing Blade in the MCU since the first announcement in 2019. He's even technically made his debut in Eternals.
Are you ready for that, Mr. Whitman?
But only as a voice talking to Kit Harington's Dane Whitman in the post-credit scene. It suggested that maybe Harington would reprise his role in Ollie's solo movie too, but there's been no confirmation of that as of yet. We do, however, know that the movie will feature Delroy Lindo and Aaron Pierre, although their characters haven't been confirmed yet. It's possible that we'll get more cast details at Marvel's next big presentation at D23 Expo on September 10th. Blade plot. Plot details are non-existent for Blade right now, to the extent that we don't even know if it'll be an origin story or if the character will already be established in the MCU. We've speculated before about how Dane Whitman and Blade's meeting in Eternals does potentially set up a Secret Invasion crossover, with that TV show released on Disney Plus in spring 2023 before Blade. In the comics, Blade and Whitman are members of fictional spy agency MI13, effectively the British version of S.H.I.E.L.D. MI13 battled Skrulls following the events of Secret Invasion, so we could see the MCU's version of MI13 established. How might this play into the Blade movie if it does happen? We don't know yet, but it wouldn't be the first time the MCU has sown the seeds for other movies in a totally different project. Production. In 2011, the Blade film rights reverted back to Marvel Studios. On October 11, 2016, Kevin Feige expressed interest in eventually introducing Blade in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, stating, "He's a really fun character. We think this movie going into a different side of the universe would have the potential to have him pop up. But between the movies, the Netflix shows, the ABC shows, there are so many opportunities for the character to pop up, as you're now seeing with Ghost Rider on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. On June 26, 2017, Kevin Feige again expressed interest in using Blade in the MCU, stating, "We think it would be cool. Someday." On July 20, 2019, at San Diego Comic-Con 2019, Kevin Feige announced that a Blade film was in development and that Mahershala Ali would portray the title character. On October 1, 2020, in an interview on the podcast The Tightrope, Mahershala Ali revealed that when he first approached Marvel Studios about playing Blade, they were considering rebooting the character in a television series rather than a film, and that it took a couple of years for them to come to a conclusion and cast him in the film. On October 23, 2020, it was reported that Marvel Studios was searching for the writers for the film. Blade-related news. An industry insider claims that Blade star Mahershala Ali is frustrated with the Marvel Cinematic Universe movie due to its lackluster script. A new report claims that the in-development Marvel Cinematic Universe movie Blade is frustrating star Mahershala Ali. Per a Twitter post by Jeff Snyder, an entertainment industry journalist and reporter for The Ankler, Blade is suffering from production delays due to issues with the movie's script. I'm told that the current Blade script is roughly 90 pages and features exactly 2 action sequences. Mahershala said to be very frustrated with the process, Snyder wrote. Feige said to be spread too thin. But hey, that's just what sources are telling me. Don't shoot the messenger. This comes amid the news that director due to ongoing production shifts. At the time of writing, Marvel Studios and Ollie have yet to comment on Snyder's statements. Snyder continued on to say that he's heard that Beau DeMayo, whose writing credits include Moon Knight, X-Men 97 and The Witcher, Nightmare of the Wolf, is now working on Blade. It's currently unknown in what capacity DeMayo is serving, but it's widely believed that he's contributing to the script. Blades in the dark. It's unclear whether Blade's reported script woes contributed to Tarek's decision to leave the project. The filmmaker issued a brief statement, indicating that he harbors no ill will towards the studio. "It's been an honor working with the wonderful folks at Marvel," Tarek said. "We were able to put together a killer cast and crew, eager to see where the next director takes the film. A replacement director has yet to be hired." Despite the buzz surrounding Blade, details on the movie remain scarce. Ollie has already had a cameo in the MCU, featured as an off-screen voiceover during Eternal's post-credits scene, speaking to Dane Whitman aka the Black Knight. "It was scary," Ollie said when asked about what it was like to play Blade for the first time. "Because, you know, you're talking before you're filming it. I'm pretty particular about my choices, like most actors, and so having to make some choices, even with a line, vocally, this early on, it brought up some very real anxieties." Blade is slated to premiere in theaters on Nov. 23, 2023. It's unknown whether Tarek's exit will impact the release date. And this is it for today. Hope you liked the video. I will see you in the next one.
We are the
What's the plan, Doc?
Fast and Furious 10, or Fast X as it's properly titled, may have had a major change behind the scenes, but everything now seems back on track. Production has continued sticking to its schedule, more or less, and the most recent release date for Part 1 of the final chapter in the Fast saga seems to be holding. Die-hard fans of the car chase films might have a hard time saying goodbye to their favorite franchise, even if it's with a two-part finale. But as Vin Diesel himself said, every story deserves its own ending. What will that ending be? We'll have to wait and see. For now, here's everything you need to know about Fast and Furious 10. Before you go any further, subscribe to our channel Cubicite, as we post video on a daily basis. And now let's go. Fast 10 release date. Initially, Universal confirmed that Fast X would debut on April 7, 2023. However, that has been shifted slightly to May 19, 2023, which so far seems to be sticking. On April 20th, it was confirmed that filming had begun, with Diesel providing regular updates on Instagram. Tyrese Gibson had previously noted that the plan is to shoot the two movies back to back, although it's not clear yet if that is still the plan. As for why the series is getting a two-part finale, Diesel has said that it's apparently because there's so much ground to cover, adding, "There's so many places and so many locations in the world that we have to visit." We don't yet have a release date for Fast and Furious 11 though, but if they do film back to back, maybe we'll be seeing it in April 2024. This is pure speculation though, so be sure to check back as more updates are revealed. Fast 10 cast. It was originally thought that Justin Lin would direct the final two movies in the series. However, he stepped down as director in late April 2022 while filming was underway, and he was replaced by Louis Leterrier. It wouldn't be a true finale to the series without most of the family back, and along with the filming confirmation came the expected cast list. Fast X will reunite the all-important Toretto family for the 10th film. Obviously, Vin Diesel's Dom is back, joined by a lot of familiar faces, especially as Fast and Furious 9 passed without any casualties. The family even grew with the surprise return of Sung Kang as Han, who will return alongside Michelle Rodriguez as Letty, Tyrese Gibson as Roman, Ludacris as Tej, Jordana Brewster as Mia, Charlize Theron as the baddie Cypher, and Natalie Emanuel as Ramsey. Diesel revealed that it was actually his daughter who ensured the return of Mia, who was originally missing from the script. We imagine that'd be it in terms of the core cast, but we'd expect a lot of cameo roles and bit parts for characters across the entire series, including Lucas Black as Sean Boswell, Bo Wow as Twinkie, Jason Tobin as Earl Who, and Shi YM as Agent Stasiak. The fate of Kurt Russell's Mr. Nobody was up in the air at the end of F9. But since he helped Han fake his own death, we wouldn't be surprised if he's still around to help Dom and his crew out. Scott Eastwood has been confirmed to return for Fast X as Little Nobody, but is it to take Mr. Nobody's role, or is it confirmation that his boss will be back too? Talking of Han's return, there's a theory that Mr. Nobody might have faked Jaisal's death too, so could we see a return for Gal Gadot in the two-part finale? After the 9th movie went to space, we're not ruling anything out. Kang is certainly up for Jaisal's return, as he responded to the theory by saying, "I think we need Jaisal back." in every way. I think the fans want that. We need to make that happen somehow. Whether it'll be in a cameo role or something more substantial, there's no way the finale passes without an appearance from Brian O'Connor too. Perhaps it'll just be from archival footage of the late Paul Walker or some CGI trickery, but he'll definitely play a part. Brewster has spoken of her desire to have Paul Walker's daughter Meadow make an appearance in the series before it comes to an end. Perhaps that could happen in Fast and Furious 10. The credits scene in F9 also saw Jason Statham return to the main series as Deckard Shaw, so we'd be surprised if he didn't play a role in the two-part finale, alongside his mother Magdalene Queenie Shaw is brilliantly played by Helen Mirren, who teased her return. While he started as a villain, John Cena's Jakob Toretto was on Dom's side by the end of the 9th movie, so we'd expect to see the long-lost Toretto brother back in the fold for the finale too. There's been plenty of exciting new names announced for the cast, led by Aquaman's Jason Momoa playing the latest bad guy to go head T-Zero head with Dom. The Suicide Squad's Daniela Melchior and Captain Marvel's Brie Larson are also a part of the 10th movie. While their roles haven't been confirmed, there's speculation that Melchior will be playing another long-lost relative of Dom. As for Larson, Diesel has been talking up her importance in the overall Fast and Furious saga, but stopped short of revealing her role. "You have no idea how timeless and amazing she will be in our mythology," he wrote on an Instagram post with a first look image. "Beyond her beauty, her intellect, her Oscar, haha, is this profound soul who will add something you might not have expected but yearned for." Reacher star Alan Ritchson will also be joining in on the fun in a mystery role. But perhaps most excitingly, Rita Morna will star as Dom's grandmother. Yes, that is really happening. We hope you liked our video. Don't forget to hit the like button and press the bell icon to get more updates from us. We see you in the next video. Bye.
Hey Hugh, you want to play Wolverine one more time?
Yeah, sure, Ryan.
Deadpool 3 has finally got a release date, and there's something even more exciting being cooked up for Marvel fans. In late September 2022, Ryan Reynolds made the surprise announcement that the threequel would bring back Hugh Jackman as Wolverine. Not only will it mark Wolverine's MCU debut, but also Jackman's return after his supposed final appearance in Logan. Originally, it was announced that Bob's Burgers writers Wendy Molyneux and Lizzie Molyneux-Loughlin were hired to write the threequel. It now seems though that the third movie is being written by Rhett Reese and Paul Wernick, who wrote the first two movies. It will be directed by Sean Levy, reuniting with Reynolds for their third movie together after Free Guy and The Atom Project. Deadpool 3 now has a release date, and so with that in mind, here's everything you need to know about the MCU debut of Deadpool and Wolverine. Deadpool 3 release date. As mentioned before, Deadpool 3 has been confirmed to be released in cinemas on September 6, 2024. In MCU terms, that either makes the threequel the final outing of Phase 5 or the first outing of Phase 6. The latter is more likely, as Marvel did have an autumn 2024 release window set in Phase 6 for an Untitled movie or TV show. Even though we now have the release date, we still don't know when the movie will start filming, but we'd assume it'd be in 2023 to ensure it hits that September 2024 release. As ever, there could always be delays though. Deadpool 3 cast. Well, of course, Ryan Reynolds was always going to be back as Wade Wilson, as Deadpool, and now we know he's got some major company. As mentioned before, Hugh Jackman will be making his MCU debut as Wolverine. We still don't know exactly how it'll work canon-wise, but we assume there's going to be some multiversal shenanigans going on. Reynolds has technically already made his MCU debut in an advert with Thor Ragnarok character Korg, as well as getting a name drop in the Avengers campus ride Avengers Assemble Flight Force. Deadpool 2 introduced us to a range of new heroes too with the X-Force team, and although some didn't survive long enough, we could see the likes of Cable and Domino again. However, Beats isn't so sure she'll be back, as she revealed in March 2021 that she hadn't heard anything about a role, and as of March 2022 still hasn't heard a thing. In August 2022, Beats changed her tune slightly and appeared to hint at a return. Well, I can't, obviously, really say anything, but I feel lucky. I just can't really divulge or say anything, so we'll see, I suppose. Fellow teammates Colossus, Negasonic Teenage Warhead, Yukio and Russell will probably round out the X-Force team if we see them again, perhaps with Peter in tow. Fans shouldn't hold out much hope to see the likes of Shatterstar and Zeitgeist return for Deadpool 3, but superheroes always cheat death in the comics, so never say never. We can pretty safely say Blind Owl will be returning thanks to a tweet between Reynolds and Leslie Uggams, who plays the roommate. One character who already cheated death in the franchise is Vanessa, Deadpool's girlfriend, and it's safe to assume that she'll return for the sequel too, though Morna Baccarin hasn't confirmed anything yet. She previously defended Vanessa's lack of screen time in the sequel, with fans accusing the movie of fridging her. I can understand that people felt that way, and I certainly was disappointed that I didn't have more to do, because I just loved the part so much, she said. But in watching the film and reading the script, it felt like such an emotionally pivotal role in the film, and the entire arc of his character in the film is set into motion because of what happens to my character. The merc with a mouth might have his hands full fighting to protect her though, as previous Easter eggs have hinted that Mr. Sinister could turn out to be the big bad of Deadpool 3. Failing that, Deadpool 2's cut cameo from the likes of Omega Red during the Icebox prison scene could also hint at the future of the franchise. T.J. Miller played Weasel in the first 2 movies, but has said he'd rather they didn't make a 3rd movie, and if that means he won't be back, we won't be too bothered by it. Will we finally see an on-screen reunion for Ryan Reynolds and his nemesis Hugh Jackman? We simply don't know. With Reese and Wernick back as writers, there's a chance that Chris Hemsworth could be tempted for a cameo as Thor after he worked with them on Spider-Head. Oh man, if he did, we certainly couldn't talk about it. But it'd be super cool, Reese teased.
I'm touching myself tonight.
Deadpool 3 plot. Reynolds has teased that the threequel is looking to go in a completely different direction, teasingly adding, often, they reboot or change a character maybe like 4 movies too late. Though Deadpool's original director said the threequel didn't need an R rating to be great, the movie will be rated R, so don't worry about that. Phage confirmed in February 2021 that Deadpool has established itself as an R-rated franchise. After Reese and Wernick came on board the threequel, they've promised that the movie won't be Disney-fied. They are gonna let Deadpool be Deadpool, you know. It's not like any particular joke may be the one that they say, you know, that's too far. That could happen, but to this point, it's been nothing but support, assured Reese. It's unclear how the movie's MCU connection will play a part in the continuity of the series from the first 2 movies, or if it'll effectively be a soft reboot. And that's it for today. I hope you enjoyed the video. We will see you in the next one.
This is the beginning of the end.
Rise of the Beastbots is a direct sequel to 2018's Bumblebee. In the center of the story will be 2 human heroes living in Brooklyn. But by the will of fate, they find themselves embroiled in a conflict between several Transformers factions.
Alien guns kick ass!
Apparently, the fate of the planet will again be in jeopardy due to the intergalactic confrontation unfolding on Earth, set 7 years after the events of Bumblebee.
Prime. We survived the fall of Cybertron, and no rebellion is truly dead until the leader is vanquished. So where is he?
Paramount Pictures' blockbuster action-adventure centers on the fearless leader of the Autobots, who, along with the militant Optimus Primal and the Maximal faction, will have to defend the Earth from the attacks of new villains, the Terracans. And Predacans, from the side of people, alien robots will be helped by a young man Noah and a girl Alina.
Defend my family. Or die.
Even though the Transformers prequel, Travis Knight's Bumblebee, was set in the 1980s, it's unlikely the movie drew inspiration from that decade's catalog of classic action movies. Granted, not many of these featured the coming-of-age story of a teenage girl and a giant alien robot.
Are you? Do you speak?
But the historical trappings allowed the project to bask in a warm glow of nostalgia while staying away from the modern setting. The movie will take place in 1994 and will tell the story of a pair of archaeologists from Brooklyn who find themselves embroiled in a conflict between 3 different factions of Transformers, Maximals, Predacans, and Terracans. However, Transformers: Rise of the Beastbots should be the epitome of a cold-blooded classic. The events of the 7th part of the main franchise will show why Optimus Prime decided to stay on Earth.
Dangerous secret is buried deep inside the Earth. There is more to this planet than meets the eye. I am Optimus Prime, calling all Autobots. It is time to come home.
If we talk about a movie from the 90 seconds in which one way or another there is a war and robots are involved, most likely, first of all, you will think about the second part of the Terminator, subtitled Judgment Day. In a new interview, director Stephen Caple Jr. admitted that he has a similar temper when making the new Transformers. I think in this film you will feel a sense of travel and expedition. This bias that connects all these people to what you are saying. Terminator 2, Judgment Day is a real classic. If you will, it has all the heaviness of the metal. So I think that when you watch our film and look at how we're running it, we want to represent that classic expedition, that classic New York trip and what follows, said Stephen Caple Jr.
You have no soul. That is why I have no fear. You die. Faster! Go! I'll kill you!
With a high degree of probability, Transformers: Rise of the Beastbots will not be as successful and of high quality as Terminator 2, Judgment Day, but director Stephen Caple Jr. is clearly inspired by the right pictures, and with great desire and competent ideas, he can good tape. Transformers: Rise of the Beastbots will be the start of a new Transformers trilogy. The film will hit theaters on June 9, 2023. The central roles went to Dominic Fishback and Anthony Ramos. The production is directed by Stephen Caple Jr. and produced by Michael Bay, director of previous films about gigantic robots. The script was developed by Joby Harold, James Vanderbilt, and Black Mob Family writers Darnell Medayer and Josh Peters. The production team, as before, is led by Lorenzo di Bonaventura, Steven Spielberg, and Michael Bay.
Show them who we are.
Black Panther 2 will be arriving in cinemas later this year, and we finally have the first trailer for the eagerly awaited sequel. The emotional trailer for was debuted at Comic-Con on July 23rd during Marvel's epic presentation, and confirmed that T'Challa's death would be a part of the storyline, following the tragic death of Chadwick Boseman in August 2020. The highly anticipated MCU sequel restarted production in January 2022 and had another week-long delay due to COVID, but wrapped up in March 2022. The break from November 2021 to January 2022 was to give Letitia Wright time to recover after an onset injury. It was confirmed back in May 2021 that the sequel would be called Black Panther: Wakanda Forever. After a couple of delays to its original May 2022 release, the sequel is set to hit cinemas in November 2022, and everything seems on track for that. Everybody involved in the production were keen to ensure it pays tribute to Boseman. We honored him by committing ourselves to the story that he started, the legacy that he started with this franchise, Wright said in May 2022. And we just committed every day to working hard, no matter what circumstances we faced. And we faced a lot of circumstances, a lot of difficult situations, but we came together as a team, and we poured everything into this movie. We don't yet know how the sequel will deal with the untimely passing of Boseman, but there's still plenty of news to savor as we wait for the movie's release. So, without further ado, here's everything you need to know about Black Panther: Wakanda Forever.
Queen of the most powerful nation in the world! And my entire family is gone! Have I not given everything?
Black Panther 2 release. After the delay in October 2021, Black Panther: Wakanda Forever will now be out in cinemas on November 11, 2022. That's a move of 4 months from July 2022, and the sequel takes the original place of the Marvels, which has now moved back to July 2023. While nothing is set in stone, we hope this will be the last shift for the movie. Filming started in June 2021, but as mentioned above, there was a hiatus between November 2021 to January 2022. However, production restarted in January 2022 and filming wrapped in March 2022, so hopefully, it can hit that November release date. Black Panther 2 casts. It's been confirmed that the sequel will honor the legacy of Chadwick Boseman and won't recast the role of T'Challa. Thankfully as well, there are no plans to use a digital double in the sequel. There's only one Chadwick and he's not with us, said Marvel Studios EVP Victoria Alonso. Our king, unfortunately, has died in real life, not just in fiction, and we are taking a little time to see how we return to history and what we do to honor this chapter of what has happened to us that was so unexpected, so painful, so terrible, really. Kevin Feige added, Wakanda is a place to further explore with characters and different subcultures. This was always and initially the primary focus of the next story. We're not going to have a CG Chadwick and we're not recasting T'Challa. Letitia Wright, Lupita Nyong'o, Winston Duke, Danai Gurira, Angela Bassett, and Danny Sapani are all reprising their roles in the sequel as Shuri, Nakia, M'Baku, Okoye, Ramonda, and M'Kathu, respectively. Duke is reportedly set to be given an expanded role in the sequel, but the reports have yet to be confirmed by Marvel, while Narcos, Mexico star Tenoch Huerta is set to play one of the villains of the sequel, confirmed to be Namor. Martin Freeman will return as CIA agent Everett Ross. Sapani recently teased a just amazing filming experience, giving high hopes for the final product. Obviously, without Chad it's very different, he said. But we're gonna keep flying that flag, keep trying to tell that story because it's just an incredible story and an incredible film. He also responded to comparisons between the first and the second film. I think we're just going to keep telling the story and honoring the great man. All of the people that are involved with that project are very close. I think it makes for a great sort of company feel. So, I imagine it's going to blow everyone away in the way the first one did. Will Michael B. Jordan return as Killmonger? It's unlikely, given that Killmonger was killed off in the first movie, but weirder things have happened. Jordan reprised his role in What If, for an alternate universe version of Killmonger. However, when asked in January 2022 about a potential MCU return, he remained coy about the prospect of a comeback. It's a character in a world that I love so much, he said. Who knows? As we all know, Marvel has their plans and their things and, you know, how things are gonna shake out. One character who we can officially confirm won't be returning is Daniel Kaluuya's W-Kabai. The actor, who played Border Chief Tribe W-Kabai in the first film, revealed that he didn't film any footage for the sequel as he was committed to the film Nope, which reunites him with Get Out director Jordan Peele, and shooting for both overlapped. Kaluuya confirmed the news in an interview promoting the latter movie with Rotten Tomatoes.
For the tribe!
Black Panther 2 plot. Now that we know for sure that the role of T'Challa will not be recast, the focus of the sequel will have had to change, and all we officially know is that it will continue to explore the world of Wakanda and beyond. Along with the first trailer, we got our first official plot synopsis. Queen Ramonda, Shuri, M'Baku, Okoye and the Dora Milaje fight to protect their nation from intervening world powers in the wake of King T'Challa's death, it reads. As the Wakandans strive to embrace their next chapter, the heroes must band together with the help of war dog Nakia and Everett Ross and forge a new path for the kingdom of Wakanda. It had previously been confirmed that Wakanda Forever would feature the aquatic villain Namor, thanks to early plot details from Production Weekly. Both Wakanda and Atlantis are hidden civilizations with advanced technology and increased militaristic abilities that decided to separate themselves from the rest of the world for their own safety, and in a way, out of fear, the details read. Wakanda feared that their technology would be abused. Atlantis feared that surface dwellers would come and desecrate the mythical city just as they did so many years ago. And yet their fears escalate even further when these two once hidden nations clash with each other. Kevin Feige had hinted that he wanted to explore more of Wakandan history in the sequel, so we could expect to see some historical flashbacks to explore how Wakanda became the place we saw in the first movie. Towards the end of the movie, T'Challa takes the herb again and encounters his father, where he's like, "Hey, man. We've kind of screwed up, and I want to change it," he told Entertainment Weekly way back in March 2019. There's that moment where all of the ancestors come behind T'Chaka. We would joke and go, "I want to see. What's their story? What's that story? Who was Bashinga, the first king of Wakanda? Who's that third to the left, behind T'Chaka? What was their story in Wakanda in 1938? That would be cool." But can Angela Bassett reveal any plot points? Not one single thing, the star told Cinema Blend. There will be a Black Panther 2, look for it in November, and it will be amazing. Our director Ryan Coogler, writer, director, perfect leader. It's going to be amazing. It's going to top #1. Martin Freeman can't give specifics either, but he does have an interesting perspective about how the script evolved. Just before Chadwick died, if my memory serves correctly, the script had gone in, he told Collider. They had the script, and they were working on the script, and then Chadwick died. And sort of immediately thought, oh, okay, I could see a world where there's no Black Panther then, because how can you do a Black Panther without Black Panther? So, I still don't know what that's going to look like. And no, obviously, before Chad died, the idea of doing it without him would have been a stupid idea. It would have been crazy. It was very shocking, and still is very, very strange that he is not here. I, Robot 2. The aftermath of the infamous Oscar slap parted to Chris Rock by Will Smith is that the latter is losing big time in his career. Aside from being banned from attending any Academy Awards ceremonies for the next 10 years, reports suggest that Will Smith is seeking therapy and many contracts signed for movies and other commercial projects have been cancelled too. But is it an end for Will Smith's career, or is there still hope for him to emerge like a phoenix? We believe that an I, Robot 2 movie might just be what Will Smith needs to skyrocket his career again. A formula that works. Will Smith has been a great actor and nominated many times for Oscars and Academy Awards. He has played some remarkable roles in his super hits like King Richard, Men in Black, The Pursuit of Happiness, Ollie, Spies in Disguise, Enemy of the State, Hitch, and many others. One of his best and biggest hits, however, was 2004 Seconds' I, Robot. I, Robot premiered in the United States on July 16, 2004. The film, which cost $120 million to produce, grossed $346 million globally but received mixed reviews. It was praised for its breathtaking visuals and performances but criticized for its story. But that's something that could be fixed with I, Robot 2, right. It is clear from the success graph of the movie that a sequel to the blockbuster might just be what Will Smith needs to bounce back. Smith followed a formula he and his manager established based on the most popular films while his cinematic career was taking off. They all have certain elements, such as special effects, monsters, a strong hero, and a love tale. Many of his biggest successes, like I, Robot, included these elements. The sequel, writer and producer Ronald Moore stated in an interview in 2007 that he was writing a sequel to I, Robot. Unfortunately, since that interview, I, Robot 2 has not been mentioned for more than a decade. However, considering that the 53-year-old is finally working on an I Am Legend sequel, there is hope that he might return to the Del Spooner character one more time. And hopefully, he'll be joined by Bridget Moynahan as Susan Calvin, Alan Tudyk as Sonny, and Kai McBride as LT, John Burgeon. For those who don't remember, I, Robot tells the story of homicide detective Del Spooner and his initial mistrust of a new robot partner named Sonny. The main conflict facing the duo is that Del Spooner dislikes robots, while Sonny is programmed to protect all humans. Together they discover a huge conspiracy that involves the fate of both humans and robots. Is Will Smith going to have the world from another potential robot apocalypse in I, Robot 2? Will Smith made the transition from TV's Fresh Prince of Bel-Air to movies with Bad Boys, and while he's had his flops over the years, he's one of the few remaining movie stars. When his film career was taking off, Smith followed a certain formula he and his manager devised based off the most successful films of all time. They all included certain ingredients like special effects, monsters, or a love story. So many of his biggest films like Men in Black featured such ingredients. This formula isn't always a surefire path to success, like Wild West or After Earth prove. It certainly worked out in the case of 2004's I, Robot, where Smith played a detective investigating a murder seemingly committed by a robot, which should be impossible given their programming. The movie was very loosely based off the work of acclaimed sci-fi writer Isaac Asimov, to the point Asimov is credited with suggesting the premise. The movie was an entertaining combination of big-budget action with occasional highbrow themes, like robots gaining sentience or the idea of free will versus control. While the ending resolved the film's premise, there was a lot left to explore in I, Robot 2. Where does Sonny go from here? Will humans and robots remain in harmony? Personally, we hope that the sure-shot formula to success works again for the superstar and turns the lousy limelight into an applaudable spotlight. We'd be very interested in a sequel or sequels to some of his biggest hits, including Hancock and I, Robot. After all, Will Smith's big-budget action films are what made him a huge star in the first place. Interesting facts. The first film was released in wide distribution back in 2004, but for a long time the plot of the second part was gathering dust on the screenwriter's shelf. In 2017, it became known that the shooting of the next part was planned, and Will Smith decided to put all his current work on the back burner, coming to grips with this project. But the next conversations turned out to be just rumors. The film is based on the plot of Isaac Asimov's books about positron robots. The original title of the cycle is The 3 Laws of Robotics. The first part received 3 times more money than was spent on the budget. The participation of Will Smith alone cost the management a substantial amount. iRobot was nominated for an Oscar for Best Visual Effects but failed to win, losing to Spider-Man 2. In the 17th episode of the 23rd season of the animated series The Simpsons, the scriptwriters shot a parody of this film. The automotive company Audi developed a prototype of the car on which the detective moved in the film, based on the proposals of the film's directors. Oddly enough, critics' scores for the first film turned out to be low, and the expectation rating was at a critically low level. Regrettably, this hasn't stopped fans from visiting the theater multiple times. For more than 10 years, viewers have been waiting for the continuation of the exciting story about Spooner, in whose veins the blood of a real brave man flows.